I think the whole I'm just going to give a couple more minutes on this. Now the whole marriage contract being rigged.
Like rigged in whose favor? Like in the guy's favor or the most?
Right. I mean, definitely the guys are saying that it's rigged. If a woman gets, which I think that's not correct. If a woman gets caught having an affair and the husband files for divorce and they say, "What's your reason?" I caught her whatever SDing when I came home from work. She's not getting nothing.
No.
But a common law marriage could be rigged just as much. I heard.
What's common? What is that? What is common law?
Like some people think they can get away with not sharing things, splitting things, paying taxes, just because they're shacking up with someone. But it's almost just like a marriage. They try to avoid a lot of things on paper just because they're shacked up with someone.
But wait, so that's a real thing?
Yeah, common law marriage. That's what a lot of people do. Like people that are just dating and they live together and they just call each other husband and wife.
Yeah.
I think most people do that than people that are married.
And you don't. And you can win a case simply off of common law marriage. You can win a case
for real.
Yeah, without a marriage license. If you're able to prove that you've been in that relationship and you have joint assets. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like all those things, when the finances come into it, you've been with this person for 10 years, living under the same roof for, I don't know, 7 or whatever. That's a way of life. That's a way of living.
Oh,
and so once that is broken up and affected, then you can take that person to court for emotional damage.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, people think they can avoid certain things by just having a common law marriage, but there's still the same laws apply.
Wow. So then that just basically disseminates that whole even statement right there. Oh, you can take her. Da, 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 da. But if you living with me for a whole year or two and we don't got marriage on paper and I catch you banging the babysitter.
Well, say you're a spouse, your friend guy, y'all are accumulated so much together that now y'all broken up. Now who's gonna say who goes to get what? Are you gonna split it down the middle? There's no papers involved with that, so it's like you're gonna have to figure it out with the courts. Maybe a civil court, maybe a civil matter.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, but.
Wow, that's interesting. See, Tina said the simplest definition for common law is that it's a body of law based on court decisions, rather than codes or statutes. Okay, so that's the difference between signing that certificate.
Yeah, it's not that many papers involved. Yeah, unless you just want to just put out a friendship contract and have it promoted common law marriage. Yeah, promoted to common law.
You have to be documenting shit. Right. You have to document, pull out that notebook, like, okay, so January 2023.
Right. We bought this at the toy. We bought this together. We bought this motorbike together. I signed, buying the contract and all that. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, wow! I did not.
I've been paying rent this whole time, like all of that.
I did not know that.
Hey, but you know what? You know something? Now that I bring that up, I wonder how many Facebook couples are actually just under the common law umbrella. And they just call each other.
Probably a lot.
And don't tell people. I never thought about it that way. A lot of people probably go under that and don't tell people. The Instagram couples and all that. Oh, that's my
because a lot of people don't. A lot of people are not doing the whole signing the marriage certificate anymore. So
I don't know if
that's a little known fact for y'all.
And there are some who are. And getting,
of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And getting
absolutely. They want the traditional
2024.
Right, the little microwave marriages.
Yes, that's what it is this generation.
For real.
CT, and I'm just going to read our next 2 comments and then we're going to move on. A common law marriage is legally recognized marriage between 2 people who have not purchased a marriage license or had their marriage solemnized by a ceremony.
Yep.
Oh, so hold up, wait, real quick. So if you get it solemnized by a ceremony, but you don't sign a certificate, does that still count? Like if you just go and don't say vows and exchange a ring, but You don't sign you have a ceremony, but you don't sign the marriage certificate.
It's a spiritual marriage.
Basically. Right. Okay. That's what that is. That's the new thing.
Yeah. No,
that's
no contract. Yeah. That's the Instagram marriage.
Yeah.
That's that new shit.
Yeah. Them catfish.
What's up, bees? What's up, my nigga? You in the chat? Hey. I hope you tap in on some of these conversations. But yeah, we just got finished. Just to clue everybody in on what we were talking about. We were talking about is the divorce/marriage contract rigged and more justly favored for women to gain financial means from her spouse. So if you guys want to put something else in the chat, that's fine. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. The Grammys was this week.
All right.
And it was a lot that went down in the Grammys, some good performances. Beyonce broke records.
It was good. It was good.
For 30. It was from what I've seen. I like Glorilla's performance. I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah, and it was tasteful.
Yeah, actually I liked it. I was like, okay, girl.
He said
but
it was
Beyonce,
tasteful. It was. I mean, it wasn't the hip hop awards or the Source.
Oh yeah, the Source awards.
She was like,
they said, listen now. Listen now, you gonna be on the Grammys now. That's exactly what they say.
Yeah. I like that song. Right. I like that song.
I like that.
I'll give her 2 more. I'll give her 2 more years.
You give her what?
I'll give her 2 more years in the. Yeah.
Maybe. They do come and go real quick.
Microwave rappers.
Because where the baby at? The baby was hot, I swear, last year. A year ago.
They dropped him like he was hot.
Okay,
they were starting to call him the abortion.
That's a little different. It wasn't like he just fell off. He ruined himself.
No, I'm not laughing. But
you should. You should.
Yeah, he was like he was just here one day and gone like a freaking 808.
I love.
He was.
He did it to himself. We love to see it. We love to.
Yeah, he did do that to himself.
But he was never really meant to stand the test of time in the rap game. He's not that go-to. He's not a 10-year plus rapper. He could
have been. He could have been.
Yeah,
you
but
think so?
His audience were basically just women. His songs are forgettable though. I don't know.
He shot on his audience. He shot on like the people around him. Just in general, just like people came to see you. You was like throwing people off the stage.
Yeah, he was doing the most. He was getting like, big-headed. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And he really is one of them wild. He a wild boy. Yeah, there you go. And sometimes you can't never tame it. You can't clean that up, no matter how much you fancy it up. Throw some Gucci on it.
No.
He ruined it.
And then on top of that, like after every instance, like even more, his apologies became the severity of his apologies or the credibility of his apologies started to dissipate. You know what I mean? Like the first one was like, okay. Even the first one when he I can't remember specifically what it was, but he released a statement on Instagram.
That was when he made that comment at the concert.
He released a statement on Instagram. Clearly wasn't written by him.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, no, we all knew that.
Wait, one of those statements had to be written by him.
That was 2 communities that he dropped off.
You think so?
There was something that only he could probably say that had to be as ignorant for him. Only he could probably cook up. Didn't have
maybe he put his little 3 sentences in
because he was like, those people don't have a house in Virginia and blah blah blah. So, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't just to say, I don't want to say the words, but he says,
yeah. Yeah, I know
a house in Vermont. So they that was kind of silly him saying, "Oh, my fans don't have that." So I ain't talking about them. I'm like, please just shut up.
Just shut up, bro.
Fire your publicist fire your publicist and just get Ghost. They would have
The
called him.
problem is that he thought he was so popular that he could say whatever he wanted.
Right. That's exactly what happened.
The repercussions because of it. You know what I mean? And so
He
like
got
he's
real
just up there
cocky.
thinking that there are a lot of people. There are a lot of restaurants out there that feel as though that they can give bad service because they're gonna constantly get like customers in no matter what.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I think he was thinking in that mindset that his fans are gonna back him no matter what. You know what I mean? And
I think people are just tired of his antics, along with the rant.
Right.
The antics before that, it basically succeeded.
It was like a caricature in the beginning. And then it started becoming like, is it really like this though? Like, is he really arrogant like this?
Yeah.
He was just doing too much. He was doing too much all in that little span. Time.
Right.
And he was stupid. He was an asshole.
Yeah, he was doing too.
Well,
tell him how you really feel.
On top of that, he was no little baby, or he
was
never Drake, J. Cole. So all the actors contributed to his demise.
Fucking over his baby mama on lives.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was just about to say.
Like his whole situation.
That was ugly too. That was it. Yeah.
Because some things you can be forgiven for, but those something you can't be forgiven for, apparently.
Some things you can't be forgiven or forgotten about. So he put his own imprint on that. Like, and it's just, he got a big head. Anyways, let me just say. Anyways, all right. So the Grammys, y'all, if everybody watched it, it was just some cool performances. There was one particular performance that stood out above them all.
I want to hear about it because I didn't see it.
I'm going to show y'all too. That has been talked about. I'm going to actually talk about the lyrics and I'm going to get into it. That has been talked about and it started trending after the Grammys, which was the Sam Smith performance where he kind of had like the eerie dead girl dancers with the devil hat on and the fire and the red lighting. Okay. But hold on. Oh, yeah. And I also want to say, Beyonce broke the record for winning 32 Grammys, which is the most any artist has won of all time. Was that right?
I think so. I think she won.
They said she broke the record.
Surpassed, yes.
Yeah. And then I also, because I am a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, shout out to Kendrick Lamar. He did win Grammy for Best Rap Album for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. If you guys haven't listened to that album, definitely check it out. It's so many like subliminals that he talks about that we deal with in the Black communities and all kind of stuff. But
and Lizzo won Record of the Year.
What?
Lizzo the Lizard?
She did?
She won Record of the Year.
No. I like Lizzo. I didn't know she could sing like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know she could sing like that.
Yeah, people don't be checking.
Yeah, she took us to church at one point.
Lizzo is cool. She had the machine behind her, though. But
she's talented, though. Yeah, she's okay. So the Grammys was an exciting event for musicians in the music industry, but has music had more of a Satanism impact on its consumers? Sam Smith is trending for perpetuating a. This is what they said. Now I didn't say this. Sam Smith is trending for perpetuating a satanic ritual during his performance. Should we as people pay attention to the imagery and or words that are being implanted in our minds and thoughts that possibly give off a self-absorbed feeling? Okay, I'm going to show you guys first.
Oh, Sammy. Little Sammy.
First, I want to show you guys, let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the clips, right? And then I'm going to tell you what the song is actually about according to Sam Smith.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to read to you guys some of the lyrics so that you understand what he's saying. Okay, so let me find this one that was letting me play it back. I think it was this one. I'm trying to make it bigger. Here we go. Okay, let me run it back. Sorry, it's a little glary. She got married to a boy like you. She took you out and she
We do not own the rights to this song.
Yeah, we do not own the rights to this song. And daddy's boy, you know everyone is talking on the stage. So like the dancers are kind of like, I don't know, they look like dead people. But it is a little dark. The song, I mean, the song.
Right. It's a bop.
Yeah, it is a bop.
Who's that?
That's, what's her name again? Petra, something Petra? Kim Petra. She's actually transgender.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The first
She actually won it. She won an award at the Grammys.
She won an award in our category, yes.
So you got the hat with the horns on it. Everything's red. I know it's scary, but you guys can also go and look up the video if you were curious and watching it a little clearer. Okay, and then at the end, they kind of like, let me see if I can show you guys. They kind of like engulf him at the end.
Like he's ascending to hell or something?
Yeah, something like that. But, okay, with that being shown, that's what it looked like, though, because they kind of like take over him, and then he goes down. You know, the little stage thing go down or whatever. Yeah. Okay, but let me tell you. Okay, so a lot of people. Let me give you guys some of the comments. Some of the people on Twitter after this performance happened, some people said things like, if as a Christian you think we are reaching when we talk about the dominance and normalization of Satan worship in pop music, you need discernment. Sam Smith's performance at the Grammys last night was satanic, gory. No, it's not art. It's symbolic of who they serve. Just a couple more. Sam Smith and Kim Petras performing their disgusting song titled Unholy at the 2023 Grammys. I didn't want to post this video, but I have to expose how satanic the music industry is. This is so demonic. Stop listening to this garbage. It's witchcraft. And then we knew that Hollywood was about when they didn't denounce Balenciaga. So many celebs remained quiet. Now Sam Smith is giving worship to the devil for millions of children to see. First of all, if you believe this is just an expression of art, then I don't know what to tell you except wake up. One last one. Let me get this straight. Someone made a song about, now listen, y'all. Let me get this straight. Someone made a song about how infidelity is evil and describes the act as unholy and even touches on the neglect his family suffers as a result. Directly calls it evil and bad. Uses visuals to emphasize it, and it's pro-evil. How? I'm confused. Now keep that last one in your mind. Keep that last one in your mind. I'm gonna go back up. What is the song Unholy by Sam Smith about? Lyrics, analysis, and meaning explored amid satanic controversy. This is coming from sportskita.com, their article, shout out to them. Sam Smith and Kim Petras recently found themselves in the middle of a controversy after delivering a performance of their viral song Unholy at the 65th Annual Grammy Awards. While the duo bagged the Grammy Award for Best Pop Duo Group Performance for the same number, some social media users deemed their performance as satanic. During the show, Smith and Petras dressed in an all-red ensemble and performed in a setting surrounded by fire and red lights. Petras performed inside a cage alongside dancers wearing devil costumes and holding whips, while Smith wore a red hat with devil horns and held a cane in their hand. In the wake of the performance, some people labeled the act as evil and even compared it to witchcraft and Satanism. Smith and Petra were also called out for their continued usage of Balenciaga as part of the lyrics for Unholy, despite the brand's controversy about the inappropriate and campaigning featuring of children. The duo were also accused of promoting a now-canceled fashion brand and allegedly enabling inappropriate, devilish themes through their song. While some users continued to criticize the performance, others came to Sam Smith and Kim Petra's defense by saying that the song Unholy is related to themes of infidelity and adultery instead of being satanic or evil in nature, which that's true. If you listen and go listen to the song, and by the way, the music video is nothing like that. I went and watched the music video, and because I'm always one of these people where I'm not always just gonna listen to what everybody says. I'm like, hold on. Because I heard the song before and I'm like, I think he's saying something else in this song.
Right.
So I went and looked up the lyrics. The song is totally talking about infidelity and a husband having an addiction, basically, to being unfaithful, creating infidelity, lying about it to his wife, basically neglecting his family. He even mentions it. I'm going to read the lyrics. He even mentions it in the lyrics in the I think that's the bridge. Okay, so Smith said that it was a freeing to experiment like this and throw out the rule book. It has also been an honor to work with Kim and get to witness her brilliance. This song is about liberating oneself from the clutches of others' secrets. Right? He said, Unholy highlights the themes of, Sam Smith, Unholy highlights the themes of infidelity and adultery and explores the story of a woman being cheated on by her husband. Sam Smith acts as a third party in the song and dubs the act of cheating as unholy. Okay, so the lyrics, it says, Mommy don't know daddy's getting hot. You don't know what that means.
Right.
At the body shop, your body getting hot, doing something unholy. And then he says, a lucky girl, she got married to a boy like you. She'd kick you out if she ever knew about all the you tell me that you do. Now, he could know somebody that maybe there's always a background story to something, or maybe somebody that wrote the song had an experience with something. And then it says, dirty boy, you know everyone is talking on the scene. I hear them. It says, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me go back down. Okay, hold on. This phone jumping all around everywhere. Because I want y'all to get the lyrics. Okay. And then it says, dirty boy, you know everyone is talking on the scene. I hear them whispering about the places that you've, of course, that's the rhyme in the song Bean,
right.
But Ben. And how you don't know how to keep your business clean. And then it goes into the hook. Daddy, if you want it, drop the addy. Give me love, give me Fendi. This is the other woman. So basically in these lyrics, this is what Sam Smith wrote. In these lyrics, which is Kim Petra's part, that's the other woman saying, if you want me to keep our little secret quiet, keep what Kenyatta was saying earlier, keep buying me gifts, keep giving me things. So she says, daddy, if you want it, drop the addy, give me love, give me Fendi, my Balenciaga daddy. You gonna need to bag it up because I'm spending on rodeo. You know what that means. You can watch me back it up. I'll be gone in the AM. Then it says, she goes and says, he got me proud of what she bought. He always calls me because I never cause no drama. And when you want it, baby, I know I got you covered. And when you need it, baby, just jump under the covers. And then that's her part. right? Because she's supposed to be the other. She's supposed to be the other woman, and then it doesn't give me the rest of the lyrics. Let me just finish for some reason. But basically, the hook is basically saying, and then it mentions him not going home. You leave your kids at home so you can go out and do your dirty work. So, only thing I'm trying to say is, I can see how maybe the visual was a little bit confusing.
Right. He had to.
But at the same time, I think he was trying to over dramatize the unholiness of being infidelity, maybe. I think he still should. I think it would have been just as good if he would have did it the way he did it in the music video.
I mean, I feel like he wanted
people wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah, he wanted to stand out, so he pulled. He pulled a little Nas X number, kind of.
Yeah. Right. So to speak. Right.
And it's called Unholy, so there's only so many ways you can go with it. Even though he didn't have to pick, he didn't have to pick that way, but I think that the visuals, it went with the song. Right. It was over the top. It's something I wouldn't play around in, but I can see how people who are afraid of that would do that. It would have a problem with doing that. So it makes sense.
People talk about Sam Smith no matter what he does.
Right.
Just because they disagree with the ideology that is Sam Smith.
Right.
Like, Sam Smith is a non-binary artist.
Right.
Singing along with a transgender artist. And so they're already saying that these people are going to hell. You know what I mean? Like, they're already, and he is playing on the minds of people who are so focused on the surface, right?
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
A lot of songs that have hidden meanings that are pushed forward as these bright, sweet songs, you know what I mean? Like, but this one in particular is a little bit more a club banger. So a dance.
That dude did do bop now. I said,
dance number. And then on top of that, like, so Whitney Houston made the song that I'm Saving All My Love for You, and that was about her being the other woman. You know what I mean?
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that either.
Like, she sings from the perspective, like, my friends
trying to tell me that. Oh yeah, I never thought about it.
Your own. You know what I mean? Like, all of that, but because it's such a sweet sounding song, no one
sure didn't.
No one
she said,
went
but
for
tonight
that. You know what I mean?
is the night that whatever she say. I forget.
I'm not about to get up there and put on devil horns, you know what I mean?
No.
But
what is she doing?
And sing from that perspective, you know what I mean? But Sam is simply delving into his art. Recently, he made a music video. I can't remember the name of the song. I'm Not Here to Be Friends or something like that. Or but in the music video, he's also dressed in lace and a bustier and being a little bit more body positive, and people spoke
I think I've seen that video.
Yeah, but I recently seen a picture on social media where he's hog-tied, laying on his stomach, half naked. What is that?
Well, I think
like he was bound and gagged.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I
mean, there's so like within the gay community, there are senses of S&M, right? There are things.
So
that's right.
Going back to all this stuff that I'm not even gonna say nothing. But
he's being a little bit more free with
everybody's trying to If y'all pay attention, people in the music industry are trying to. They're trying to tap into something. They're trying to tiptoe around the pedophile. You know, I don't want to. Whatever.
I don't think so.
I don't know what's going on. No, I'm saying it's they're treading lightly with the whole Balenciaga thing and the children being exploited. It's a lot of this going on where people are doing a little bit of this and that. I don't know.
I get what you're
saying. Because he was hog-tied, it has something to do with pedophilia?
No. Well, I'm not going to say too much about it, but I think that it's a lot going on with the
Hey.
S&M and all this stuff, and it's all tying into Satanism,
Because I
pedophilia.
get
It's a
what you're
lot
saying.
going on. It's a lot going on.
I get what you're saying. I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. I mean, I can see the angle. I can see the angle that you're saying,
Right.
where like they're doing a little bit of inch here and then a little bit
Yeah.
of inch there. I get what you're saying, but as far
Yeah.
as Sam
Yeah. I
Smith,
don't personally think that Sam Smith. I don't personally, but
you're just saying like
yeah.
just in
Oh
general with the.
no.
Yeah,
Oh,
there are
okay.
But
some
somebody.
out there.
But
Yeah.
either way, someone had to sign off on the performance. So why is there controversy if it was signed off on in the boardroom?
I get
So
what you're
I don't know
saying. I
where
get
the
what you're saying.
controversy is from. I guess
Oh,
the
believe
Catholic
me, they
religion,
upset with
or
them too. They upset with the
okay,
Grammys for
because
showing it. They
this stuff
upset
Yeah,
with
don't
the
I
just
mean,
network.
it don't just happen.
right.
You know.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like there's a
It's just a
there
lot
could be a,
going on with latex and BDSM and
but
S&M
It's
and
always
some
bondage.
people,
been
It's a lot of
around.
stuff going on. No, I know, but I'm saying it's more that higher ups are being kind of put on blast towards bringing more attention to it. Like a lot of things been going on in the world, but
like a
a
lead.
lot of people didn't know about it until social media made it worldwide. A lot of things been going on. Like a lot of people have been cross-dressing. A lot of people have been non-binary. A lot of that stuff, but it's now when it's out there and
Oh, you
open.
mean now it's more
Yeah,
it's more
yeah.
open?
Oh
It's
yeah,
more
it's
like
more.
before it
Yeah,
was
more
more
people
hidden.
know. Yeah, yeah. It's just it is what it is.
It's just more exposed
Oh
now.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Not.
but I mean
I
that
wouldn't
comes.
necessarily say it's exposed. I would say that the representation is there.
Yeah, well,
So
the
Yeah,
representation and the fact that it's more
it's more.
known
It is
because
more.
I
No,
guess
it
because
is.
of the representation is more known. I guess because of that.
Right, right.
But
I think that's the point of it.
like
Like,
we
to
talked
kind of.
about, a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks
Right,
ago, what's done in the dark will come to the light, and people are going to talk
right.
about it once they hear about it. So
oh
if
yeah,
people are doing it, and now there's a little bit more education about that situation, you know what I mean? Like there are a lot of things that people aren't necessarily tell you when it comes to your sexual desires, you know what I mean?
Right.
But there are a lot of people, it's different strokes for different folks. And I'm not necessarily
Yeah.
going to fault someone for what they like. If it's in terms of hurting someone else or taking advantage of someone, then is where it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? Because that's where you start to cross a line.
absolutely.
But
I'm going to read a quick comment. See, Tina says Sam is trying to bring body positivity and reciprocation. We sexualize women too much. Why not men?
yeah,
That's a fact.
yeah.
That's a big fact. That's a fact, Mr. Malvo. We always got our titties and ass shaking on the camera, and it's all right. It's
Right.
all right.
But the
It's
moment that
normal,
man does it, it becomes a huge problem. Or that man is so incredibly feminine, and we shouldn't be showing those images on
Look,
television. But there are, in fact,
I'm
feminine
staying out of this one.
men
I'm not
who
saying
exist.
nothing. I'm not. I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
It's making him uncomfortable.
See,
No, it's not that. It's just
It's
I just
okay.
I don't want to see someone bound and gagged,
I mean,
in
if that's not your
bondage.
case,
right?
Yeah,
Change
that's
the
not your case.
channel.
right.
That's understandable. That's understandable.
Especially
If you don't
Sam
want
Smith,
to,
but that's explicit.
yeah, I mean,
My
I'm
whole
not into that.
thing is,
I ain't really trying to be, I like to be tied up a little
I
bit, but
believe people are free.
I
Yeah,
don't
people are
want
free
my
to
hands
express.
behind my back.
Right.
I don't like that.
You guys are right. You guys are right. People should absolutely feel free to express themselves,
yes,
regardless of
exactly.
how. I always believe that.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. I 100%.
Hold on one
I
second.
believe that. I would never take that away. Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
feel like most of us have one thing that uh, may be deemed freaky about the outside public if we were to talk about it in public. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
But in terms of the community that identifies with the things that or the images that Sam Smith puts forward, They are feeling represented. They are understanding that they are not alone in those feelings. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they're just doing them. You know what I mean? Like there are
I
freaks
mean,
out there.
oh,
There
I know.
are some, oh,
Freak
Yeah.
freaks. So
I'm talking about,
and then understand like
hold on, wait, did y'all see Kamala Harris' husband and Joe Biden's wife kiss each other on the lips?
No.
The
No.
the freak
Is
gonna
that
come out no
real?
matter
Is it
what. You
real?
know what I mean? Like
I
it's gonna.
swear.
Oh yeah. Like right on the lips. Like
I'm talking about like, mwah,
in front
for
of
that long.
everybody, and then nobody
In
took
front,
it to. Nobody was like,
let me see if I can pull it up for y'all.
But what was the point though?
Let me.
"What was the point? They were greeting
Yeah.
each other."
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hey.
Were they greeting each
Right. That's like
other
me and
in
Christina. Like, hey.
Italy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mwah.
When y'all could just be like,
Hey.
hey girl, hey boy.
Right.
In my hand of why I'm kissing you for.
Hold on, I'm about to show y'all. Y'all ready? Look. Hold on. Let me look. Everybody clapping too. Hold on, wait. It'll run back.
Wait a minute. Who's that man you just kissed?
Kamala.
That's Kamala Harris's husband.
Her husband is white? Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
No,
You know how many black people?
I
Yo, do you
forgot.
know how many black people said that shit that I showed that to? They said her husband. Yes, y'all know Kamala husband wife.
He is white. I forgot. Yeah.
They kissed each other on the lips like they did some things last night.
So
Everybody.
that's kind of weird that they both happen to be those type of people that kiss. Okay.
Mr. Malvo.
I'm going with it.
Orgies.
Oh, I know about these Hollywood freak parties and Will Smith, Jada, and all these. Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's people are doing all
He
this.
said, I know about them Hollywood freak.
Oh yeah.
Whatever they want to do, by all means, do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
P
Oh,
Diddy, all them.
hold on, wait. Sidebar, would y'all do an orgy? Would you have an orgy or swing with your husband and wife? If you needed to spice up, first of all, there's a show y'all should watch. It's called Sex Life on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So good. So good. Okay. Like it really gets into people, it gets into your head on like how people be having all these fantasies with their exes and then what they do when they're trying to keep their marriages hot. And we talking about married people, like and people like in they like 30s and maybe up. Like people that are like my age and maybe a little up, some of them are way more freakier than some of these young people.
I believe that. Oh, absolutely. I believe that.
Like they be having orgies, threesomes, foursomes. Like, would you guys partake in something like that? If you were married and there was something dead within your sex life between you and your spouse, and you guys wanted to try an liberating sexual experience, would you do it?
My idea of liberating my sexual experience wouldn't be liberating some other people too.
Hey, see, Tina said yes. Why wouldn't you try? See, Tina.
I mean, I respect it. People
for
that
real.
do that.
I mean, if y'all both come to a mutual agreement,
yeah, I might do a tray. I would might try a tray
with each other and say
what?
That we're not necessarily going to fault someone for it. And then you try it, and then you try it, and you can easily say like, okay, that wasn't for me.
Like right, yeah.
I didn't like the way that felt. Like I didn't,
right.
There's nothing wrong with saying that.
I would do that
but
with
then
someone.
Also be careful if your spouse is like, I liked that.
I mean, but that's the whole idea, though, right? That's
schedule
the idea.
that next Thursday.
But you open up Pandora's box, though. You heard?
Right.
So
that is true, though. That's why he said, "Be careful." That's why he said.
Yeah.
Personally, I can't do it because I would have to be dating someone or married to someone that I'm not really into for me to want to share them.
That's funny. I hear a lot of men say that.
I'm a Cancer, so that's probably.
I hear, but no, for real, I hear a lot of men say that. Like they be like, well, I mean, if she's my wife, but if it's like, oh, this is a bitch I'm fucking, I mean, hell yeah. Or if this is a bitch I'm cool with, and we be fucking, yeah, I do that shit. But then, like, when you be like, what about your wife? They be like, oh no, and I'll be like, what?
You gotta be careful with that, because if that's the first suggestion that you go into, as opposed to like tickling me with a feather, like let's try the tickling me with a feather first before we go into like adding two motherfuckers into this room.
Wait, is that a thing?
What, like the
tickling people with
tickling with a feather? Yeah, let's try everything else that doesn't involve another person before
what? Swinging naked
toys. You gotta add somebody new.
Right. Oh, you can try toys.
Yeah, something like
you could try something dressing up, role playing.
If all else fails, you know what I mean? Like, but it becomes a thing where it's like, am I boring you? Like, you need to, like, what?
Don't ask that question if you don't want the answer.
Right, but let's get into the psyche of it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna do adult things, then you have to you have to speak about those adult things, adult life. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have the honest conversation, and then you can't leave those things unsaid, because then you're not communicating, and then when you stop communicating, then that's when you start straying and going to go try and look for that thing as opposed to working with that person.
But if I hear something I don't want to hear, it's a wrap regardless. I'm like, oh,
what do you mean?
Because I ask my partner and be like, oh, you want to try, or what do you think would spice us up? Oh, I want to do this. Nope. If I hear the wrong thing, I'm like, oh, so I'm gone. I don't care if I've been married for 20 years. I'm gone.
Well, there you go.
I'm from Louisiana.
This person knows this wild thing before they are getting into this marriage.
Yeah,
like a lot of this time,
But remember that dude that was the last dude that was on live, and some girl got flown out to jerk off a camel or something. That's something. So it's like, I don't know what people are into.
Yeah, that happens every day.
So you don't know what people are into until you ask. So you're absolutely right. You never know
you
what people's sexual proclivities are.
Yeah, like, what are you into? What do you like? Like, eventually she may come out. She might be afraid to say. You know what I mean?
Don't lie, because some people now watch out for this one. If you like, so what are you into? What do you like? What they be like? What are you into? What do you like? No, I ask you first.
You tell me first. so I can have the keys ready.
So
I can warm the car up.
I'm gonna get you some I'm gonna get you some soft options.
Yeah, if it involves make it from a door frame,
I ain't gonna come out of a bag too early. You know what I mean? It's like,
I'll be like,
I got a whole box of shit.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Wow! I don't mind that stuff. I don't know. I never did.
Would you use real quickly before we move on? Would you use like a vibrator or something on your woman or something like that? Some guys are opposed to that. Like, nah, my dick does just enough. I don't need to use no toy. That's like disrespectful to me.
So you think? So you think your dick is doing enough? Why are we talking about this vibrator if your dick is doing it enough?
Right. I mean,
that's a fact.
Like Miss
I guess being open-minded.
We need that new shit. We need some new shit.
And some dudes don't be lasting for real. Like, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna put myself out there a little bit, not too much. But there's been times where I've had intercourse with somebody, and after we were done, I was still wanting to do it. Like, I was still like horny, and I could still probably bust a few nuts.
Yeah,
but they're done.
You care less about your nut.
Right, they're done. And then once they're like, oh, I gotta get it back up, then I'm kind of like, now the flow's kind of gone and everything like that. And then it's like, okay, so, you could be like, okay, well, just use the vibrator on me to finish me off because I'm still right there. Like, the river still kind of is flowing, and you putting a dam in it, you stopping the flow. And if you wait too long, now I got to get you hard. I got to do this.
Nope.
Now I'm kind of dwindling back down, and it just throws the flow off. So
I'm leaving a relationship, and that happens.
Why?
No, I'm saying if someone gets theirs and I don't get mine, I'm saying I'm gone. I'm like, I'm not about to make you
wait a second.
But
yeah, I'm serious. I'm a serial flight risk.
Right. See, how strong is this relationship? Like, you in this relationship, and then they do something wrong.
Things like that mess with your emotions and your it messes with your the chemical that goes on in your brain. Like when you get blue balls, or I don't want to be too vulgar, but if someone gets theirs and you don't get theirs, you don't get yours. And then you're like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like, this is like, okay, I still want to go.
Okay.
And I'm like, they're done, and I tried it, and it didn't work.
Say that.
Sometimes people are one and done, and they're good.
Then you don't care about that person.
I do care about them, but I care about myself.
You could go down.
I don't know. I know what you're saying, but but if the person's not willing, they're all tired, or I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go cheat on you, get a burrito, drive around, go push a bus or something.
My nigga Kevin really said, I'm gonna go cheat on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cheat on you that same night. I'm gonna get mine and come back, and we're gonna eat breakfast together and go.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah. Y'all got me tweaking.
That's a law of attraction.
That's
not a law of attraction, but that should be some type of law of the land.
Have you ever seen that meme?
So, okay.
Have you ever seen
telling me.
Have you ever seen that meme where, like, have you ever seen that meme? It went viral where the lady was like, she was done and she was backing up. She put her house coat on, and he could barely get out, and she pushed the door and she closed them. Like, she closed the door immediately, and he was barely out the door. And she was like, "You get your ass."
That's rude. I'm not like that, though.
Like, I just wasted all this motherfucking time.
I like that.
You are peeing and hawing over me.
Wait a minute. I feel like I'm being judged a little bit because what about you guys are in a situation like that where your partner gets theirs? What are you gonna do if the person is uninterested for the rest of the session? That's
what I'm saying. That's what's happened to me before. And what I did.
Why are you in a relationship with this person?
Was finish myself off.
Oh yeah,
I did that before too. I've done that before, but
like right with the person but the person was like laying right next to me. Like that's just like weird. I felt weird afterwards. I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like I would have
felt like a starfish. Like
it's awkward.
Really no, I can't. It's like weird. I can't do it. Like I feel like I'm in the funeral home laying next to a dead person.
Yeah,
while I'm moving, just like looking like this. Like, are you looking at me?
You don't want to move too fast.
No, like that's creepy.
Try not to make.
No, I'm not doing all that. I'm going to go cheat on you. I'm going to come back with a burrito. It's on the drink. I'm telling you.
No.
Either you do it, I do it now, because my emotions is all over the place. I'm horny, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, and
right, because that's exactly what happened. You're like frustrated. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, and you're like, oh my god, and then you kind of like mad. You're like,
I can't do it. So I understand why some people, I'm not going to say cheat, but I understand why some people, if their spouse isn't giving to them enough, they have a higher sex drive than their spouse.
That's another thing. That sex drive thing. Gotta be compatible there.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, absolutely.
Gotta be compatible. Yeah, for sure.
And I can get by.
But okay, y'all, we gotta move on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to look at this. King Shotty said they need to use that mouth, but they do be lazy afterwards. I get them. He's talking about women. We're talking about both. It's not just no gender thing. Okay, it's men and women.
If the man is not going to get his nut,
talk to him, Ken, because the man can get. Because the man can get his nut if he wants to nut in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He can nut in 2 minutes. And usually, don't it be, Mr. Malvo, don't it be a controlling thing for y'all to last longer than 5 minutes?
Yeah, but
Because really,
it's more
how quickly could you nut if you really just was not thinking about pleasing your partner at all?
No, so the focus is more so, it's supposed to be more so about like making sure, it's supposed to be a selfless act. Sex is supposed to be selfless.
Right.
It's supposed to be more so about making the other person pleasured,
right.
and then through that you receive pleasure. But there are a lot of people who go,
not every time,
but there are a lot of people who go into it specifically just to get their own,
to get a nut. Yeah, exactly.
And then you forget about the partner. It depends on how much you care about this partner. Because there are a lot of people who go into a situation and trying to get a nut and care less because you don't mean that much to them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
I absolutely agree.
About your nut.
Yeah, that's true. We've all been there. We've all been there. But
on both sides of the fence. I've been on both sides.
Right, both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
I'm trying to enjoy and get it and get her off first. Well, that's good. That's what you should do. We got to move on. I know y'all like the sex topics. We're going to bring them back around the next live show. We're going to do some juicy conversations. But to get into Honor of Black History Month, first, a message from Joe Biden.
Never mind.
Doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics. So make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
In honor of Joe Biden. That was an actual statement that he made. I don't know if it was at like one of those little private conventions or one of those places where he's doing a speaking, but I couldn't find the actual location of where he made that statement. Huh?
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I could not find it.
I would like for us to be able to find the source material.
I'm gonna try to Google it. Yeah.
I mean, TikTok can do whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna try to Google it, but I do know Joe.
Joe has made questionable.
You're not black if you don't vote for him.
Right. Exactly. He's made questionable statements beforehand, and that was kind of off the cuff. I think he was speaking a little too freely when he was talking to Charlotte.
Right. I think the meds. It was the meds. Yeah, it was the meds.
Speaking a little
but it's better than
that right there. I have to see the footage. I
gotta see it too. But it makes a lot of sense.
It's wheelhouse to be able to say it, but I feel like there are also people out there who are trying to sabotage Biden just as well.
Oh yeah.
Not to say that Biden doesn't sabotage himself.
Yeah. I just said that because I do think just because of the things that's been going on and the conversations that's been being had when the whole banning of the abortion bill, when there was the conversation of that, it was really meant to preserve the white race because statistically more white girls are getting abortions than black and brown. So you can research that as well, but I am going to try to see if I can research that and find it, and I will let you guys know. But in honor of Black history, did integration ultimately hurt the Black community? Let's talk about it.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Did integration hurt the Black community? No.
And why do you think that?
So I think if we were to stay to ourselves and then educate ourselves, then we would still be deemed those people. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like...
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ken. I got a rebuttal for you. Go ahead.
I feel like... So, I always stem towards television in terms of representation.
Oh, Tina got it, Ken. She got it.
Fact checks Biden's comments about doomed United States taken out of context. There we go.
And there was more to it.
See, a lot of people like to take those excerpts and then make that
maximize
statement, and it's really in terms of everything.
DM me that, Tina, because I'm gonna lose it after this. DM me that so I can look it up, because I'm pretty sure he probably said it within a context.
But I have heard that many times.
Yeah, I mean that's the future. Everybody's mixing up together. But I'm sorry, Kenyatta, I didn't mean. DM me that link, C Tina, please, honey. So I want to look at it. What were you? Go ahead, Kenyatta. What were you saying?
Integration, right? So
yeah,
we're talking about, like, for me, I understand the benefits of representation. So for me, it was All in the Family, and All in the Family with Archie Bunker having a next door neighbor, and that being George Jefferson, and then the Jeffersons appearing, and then you got to see a Black family through good times on television screens, and then you got to then the threat started to die down. You know what I mean? Initially, we were Black folks, you know, over there, and we didn't necessarily know what was going on with the Black folks over there. You know what I mean? So when you have certain shows like that, it makes it, I hate to say, use the word palatable, right? But it's more so white people had to see that we weren't all intimidating. We weren't dangerous. We weren't all of those things. We were just like them. We want different skin color. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of people who fight that type of sentiment to still keep us in the place that we were, which is oppressed. You know what I mean? But I think integration helps us in terms of being able to understand that we're on the same playing field in terms of education. Because then if we didn't have integration, then we would have, well, it's still a problem today. Right. We wouldn't have the best books. We would have a completely different set of education, learning, like all those things. Like, what are you teaching the white kids over there that the Black kids can't learn? You know what I mean? Like, all those things affect things. So, like, to integrate means to keep us all on an even playing field. But there are a lot of people out there who are still trying to work against that. You know what I mean?
It gives us a chance to occupy more spaces, you know, than we would usually be.
Okay, I can see that. Those perspectives are valid. But do you guys think that when, like, back when it was like Martin Luther King era and like the activists and everything, that Black people were more unified because we only had to count on each other?
Yeah.
And do you think it was more, and do you think that it was more of a motivation within us back then because we knew we didn't really have no other opportunities, so we had to make it work within our own communities. We had to build our own communities. We had to do. And do you think that if we stayed that way, it might have strengthened us as a people, where we could have, built, even though they did keep blowing up shit and burning shit down every time Black folks was putting together communities. And that, but then that's suspicious because it's like, well, y'all say y'all don't really want us here and we should go back to Africa and da-da-da-da-da. And then when we try to build communities of our own where we intermingle with mainly our own, it mysteriously vanishes, gets blown up, caught on fire.
Yeah, but see, that's another conversation though. That's even a bigger conversation to be had.
Right.
Would you say that? Because let's just say, like you said, we're within our own come from our own communities and we're trying to build ourselves up, why are you on the outside trying to infiltrate our space or destroy it and disrupt it? That's another conversation of bigotry and hatred and just not wanting us to rise above or being afraid or fear. I don't know.
And that's the thing, though. And that's the thing. What are you afraid of when you don't necessarily want us here? There's still racism in 2023, which I was going to show you guys some videos and stuff, but we're actually going to go into something else to tie up the end of the show. It's going to have to be quick. So I'm just thinking back on the history of Black people before there was segregation. We seemed like we were more of a proud race within each other, and we were more. Seems like we were more willing to come together to actually try to build more of a community with each other than as opposed.
That's the funny thing about it, though. That seems like there's a flip side to that coin. I feel like we were relegated to a certain area to where we had to be. And then when we started getting a little power to build our own communities, there became conflict between, the community. Right. So jealousy and things like that, rivalry. I don't think it was always like that. I think it was back then. I think we just had to accept what we were given and go with it. But now we get a little power. That's when I think conflict became within the community. I think
that's interesting. Like you said, what's that movie? Oh my God, what's the movie? Is it the Black? What is that movie? Oh my Messiah! Oh my God, what is that movie?
The Black Messiah.
Judas and the Black Messiah, where the dude snitched on what was it? Oh my God, I can't even remember. It was such a good movie. Yes, snitched on them and got everybody killed.
Yeah, I think back then we were forced to work together because we all had the common goal. And the common goal was to be deemed equal.
Right.
To fight for equality, just because everything was holding us back just based on the color of our skin.
So you're right.
We had no choice but to turn to each other just because you understand my experience.
Right.
But back during the times of like Rosewood and Tulsa, when things like were burned to the ground, that was because the Black community was trying to stay to themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it wasn't until we started integrating with white people where it was like, okay, well, y'all not gonna burn your own shit down.
Yeah, but
the smart
I don't know if it was just because we were trying to keep, generational wealth within the Black community. I feel like it was just also jealousy, and they didn't want us to rise above anything.
Right.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it's evil in
itself.
Those niggers. Right. How
right.
Those uppity niggas, how dare they try to be smart?
Right.
We weren't allowed to read back in certain eras. We were not allowed to do certain things, and those same sentiments still haunt, America.
Right.
The racism still haunts America.
How dare you make because in all actuality, there were still white people who were poor and impoverished.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but we were still deemed less than those people who were poor and impoverished. So, if you have your wealthiest Black man who is above your poorest white man, they had a problem with that. So then they wanted to push you all the way down beneath whoever was poor, you know what I mean? Just to create that hierarchy, just to be able to. I mean, we were already behind 400 years.
Right. You're right.
So it's like until we integrated, until they saw that we weren't necessarily a threat, which we still are. Let's be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just
let's be honest.
In terms of the culture, we've created so many things and contributed so many inventions, all like concepts. All of those things came from the Black community. So that's what they were trying to put a stop to. But like you based everything in this country off of the backs of black people.
A black,
You know
right?
what I mean? So it's
Exactly.
like it's they were trying to keep their foot on our necks.
On our
Right.
neck.
Now
Yep.
because
There you
they
go.
can't necessarily do those things in terms of a professional world. Like they still they can in certain spaces, but that's why they are resorting to killing, senselessly.
Right. Just wiping it out.
Yeah,
Wiping
exactly.
us out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing that for years. So.
Years. Yeah, you're right. That's true. I mean, you guys have a very valid point. I mean, I think like you guys were saying, as far as us being um integrated now, because we were segregated before.
Right.
It does give us more avenues to be in different positions of power or to, be looked at as, I wouldn't say, well, somewhat equal
Right.
and not as much of a threat, but we still are looked at as a threat if we get too much power. That's when it's like, oh, hold on, they over here. What they over here doing? They over here building shit. Oh, no, blow that up.
That's what that fear factor. The whole fear factor.
Oh, no, they got a hospital. Oh, hell no, blow that up.
We would have had to protect ourselves no matter what. Because,
because
I mean, they try to infiltrate Wakanda. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
you're right.
They could create Wakanda, and then they would still try to comfort that. You know what I mean? Like,
everything.
If you try to set yourself apart, they're going to try and infiltrate just because they feel as though they can, or they have other ideas out there, or some way that we can be able to benefit that, or I need to be able to commandeer those type of ideas, or try and regurgitate them in some way. Like it's always been the way of the world.
So you think that movie has some type of racial undertones?
What?
Wakanda? I mean, Black Panther. You think that whole vibranium and the whole existence?
That was the whole plot
community
point.
Right? Because I thought, I don't know. It's like I know it had to be a little deeper than what's on the surface because they didn't want to touch on too much to get into politics. They want to do too much because they could have. It wasn't on the nose. It wasn't on the nose like that movie Karen. It was like more undertones.
To me, Wakanda is depicted as what Africa would have been like had we never been taken from it. And so then you have all of these Europeans who are trying to, because vibranium, right? Vibranium is the one thing that is keeping that civilization thriving and much better than other civilizations, right? And so what do they do throughout the course of that film is try to covet or steal that vibranium so that they could be able to bring it back to the States and build their own thing and create
what they always done.
Well, but that's what they do. They go over, they steal the particular idea, and then they use it for evil, right?
Yeah,
they use it for evil, or they use it to be able to build upon, or that's
money or whatever business.
Felt like for me was them protecting what they hold to be sacred.
Sacred, right? That was very well played, you guys. Right. Okay, so go ahead. If we gonna sum it up because we were gonna run out of time. Just to run into what we were talking about, there is a documentary that came out I think the documentary came out, but it's starting to pick up some traction and get conversation. This interview was actually done on Dr. Phil, and the documentary is called Deconstructing Karen.
Oh, wow.
And it's basic. Have you heard of it? I tried to find it and watch it, could not find the full documentary link, but it's basically a depiction of ideology that all white women are basically racist. So I'm going to play this clip for you guys. We might go over a little bit, but not too much. So maybe like an extra 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm going to show this to you guys really quick. And then we'll go ahead and talk about it. Courtesy of Dr. Phil.
So I want a show of hands. who is racist. Oh my God.
Wow, it went right into it. Went right on it.
I've always thought of myself as being like kind of woke. I'm blinded to color. Like it doesn't fit me at all. Read because he was a white male. He was a victim of reverse racism. How many of you would trade places with a black person in this society? Raise your hand.
Nobody?
Me? Anybody?
Nobody raised their hand.
Did they all disappear? Oh.
No, they're gonna get into a conversation.
Cool.
Hello. Hi. I'm Syra. Hey, Lori. Thank you for being here this evening. So I want a show of hands of everyone at this table who is racist. Deconstructing Karen
Wow.
is your own white supremacy.
I must confess that over the past few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice.
You heard what he said.
This elephant in the room that's killing us all. White supremacy.
Shut up like that.
I know. I think he said it before he went to jail.
And join our sisterhood,
but
the world changes.
How does that make an argument for Karen?
But listen,
racist makes you so upset.
Because it's such a horrible word, and I don't want to be so horrible.
We're back, and we're talking about a lot of things.
Sorry, the filter, yo.
He's on the table and just said, that's a horrible thing, and I would hate to be labeled that way. I'm going to add Tony here in just a second. Tony is a white woman and former educator.
I couldn't get the filter on.
Karen trend. So I'll get to Tony in just a second. You were going to make a comment right before the break.
You know, if you're born and raised in America, okay, I am a 72-year-old black woman.
She's 72, y'all. She look good.
Yeah,
biased.
she look good.
The Harvard bias thing on mine towards white children. And the reason is, I grew up in America. There's no way that I can be biased towards white children and not have come out of that sausage factory that we all come out of, called public education. This is America. This is who we are. Yeah, and I want to add, just so I'm not throwing stones at all, I have non-black privilege. Okay, I don't have white skin and I don't have black skin. I have brown skin. So I have privilege because I'm not black. Okay, in the hierarchy of America, you've got white at the top, you got black at the bottom, you've got everyone in between. And the quicker we can acknowledge these things, Dr. Phil, you say this, you cannot change what you don't acknowledge. So why can't we just acknowledge it and take the feelings out of it so we can actually stop having police brutality and the beating and killing of black and brown people for no reason? You want the Karen, the trend of Karen to be over? You're sick of that. You know what we're sick of? Racism. We're sick of racism.
Well, let me say
And she got a point now, y'all.
Lord, this is liberal.
Hold on, keep watching.
You got a point?
and I had to shut my message boards down.
You're aware.
We are tired of racism.
You don't get that though because you're shaking your head. I don't really understand why we keep talking about racism in the first place. I know it exists, okay? Listen, I know, but can you imagine being in a relationship with anybody and never talking about the hard stuff? Can you even imagine what that would be? Because you can afford to be.
Mind you, she was divorced with and left with 3 kids. The white lady.
Wow. I mean, she can.
Let me go to Tony. Tony, what do you want to say? You don't like this Karen label. It's pejorative and judgmental.
Yes.
I bet she doesn't.
A lot to say on this entire topic. First, the comment she
Listen to
made
what she said,
when
y'all.
it came to the table and she asked them if they were racist and they answered no, and it's like they immediately failed. I'm sorry, I'm not racist. I do not have a racist bone in my body. Just because I was born with white skin the same way that you were born with black skin or dark colored skin doesn't make me not like people of a different race. So if you were to ask me if I was racist, of course, absolutely, my answer is no, I am not racist.
Ooh, that's believable. I'm just kidding.
That other people are to me. That's them. That is people's perception. Like if a police officer doesn't pull me over because I'm white, that's on that police officer. That's a problem with him, not with me. That doesn't make me a Karen. I was in education for 5 years, and I taught in a public school that was predominantly white Caucasian students. We did have African American students, and I will be the first to say I got along with those students better than any other of those kids. I stay in contact with them today. They know I'm on this show, and they even said to me, "Go, Parker, you're the least racist person we've ever met in our life." So yes, you can sit here and say,
She wants an award.
I know, right? Like, okay, we got you.
Are unaware. I feel like if we want to fix this situation, why are we doing to the white people exactly what the African American wants stopped happening to their people?
Did we stop it?
White people to get comfortable with acknowledging their own racism, or black people, brown people are going to continue to die, and I'm just sick of the 2 white women on this stage refusing to acknowledge it.
They're like, bitch, shut up.
I gotta watch that show.
Hold on one more second. Hold on, I just want you guys to hear this last part, and then I'm going to turn it off.
The 2 white women that are involved in this conversation that we should value your fragility over the topic of race, over the comfort and safety of people of color. Also, just one more thing, white people need to get comfortable with acknowledging their own racism, or black people, brown people are going to continue to die, and I'm just sick of the 2 white women on this stage refusing to acknowledge it and holding women of color accountable for your own ignorance.
You can put a hit out on her.
Named Dolly.
She's gonna be toast.
She's Harvard educated.
Okay. It's almost over, but
You don't have to look at my color of my skin.
hold on, let me show y'all this real quick.
Why don't you look past that I'm white and say, she's a good person? Why not her entire life? You never given her a reason to trust us.
We're trying to tell you what it's like. We are trying to tell you, and the first thing that a lot of you at this table have done has been this. And I want you to sit with that.
Okay, I'm gonna end it there because it's like a good another, I don't know, 10 minutes in. But the documentary was very interesting because when she asked them, would you trade places with a black person in this country, nobody raised their hand. So it's like, okay, I can get, and I don't think necessarily racist means that you really intentionally hate black people or dislike black people. I had an experience one time with a friend of mine because I went to a predominantly white Christian Baptist school growing up, and I graduated from there. And at one point in time, most of my friends were white. And I remember one time taking one of my white girlfriends to a club that was predominantly black. And they were perfectly comfortable when it was them and me. But when it became them and us, it was a totally uncomfortable situation. But I love black people. You're my friend. You're black. How could I be racist? I don't da-da-da-da-da-da. But when I took her to an environment where it was predominantly black people and nobody was making them feel uncomfortable, everybody was being very friendly, very warm, she actually pulled me to the side and told me that she felt uncomfortable.
Okay.
So, do you think that sometimes can make you be maybe not intentionally racist, but maybe ignorantly or unknowingly racist?
No,
if it even makes you uncomfortable to be called a racist, when you might really be a racist, you get so defensive about it.
Well, that's the scenario with the club. That wasn't a real a good way of knowing or not, because it was a club surrounded by people.
But
If I'm
why
in a
does it
club,
make her uncomfortable to be around a whole bunch of black people when I'm a black person that goes to a school full of white kids?
well, because y'all probably didn't have a conversation of if what makes you uncomfortable, what makes her uncomfortable. Because me,
She
I'm
was
going
down
to
to
a club with
go.
all white people. I'm going to be a little uneasy also if I'm around all white people. I'm the only black guy there. I mean,
She wasn't the
it wouldn't be
only one. It
it
was
wouldn't be
me
because it wouldn't be
and
because of
her and one of her
racism though.
friends.
For me, it wouldn't
Huh?
be. For me, it wouldn't be because of racism if I'm in a
So
predominantly
what
white
is that
club.
so what is that uncomfortable feeling that we get when we feel outnumbered by the other race?
It's just a feeling of uneasy. It's just, I don't know. It's, you know, when you're not comfortable or used to being in a certain environment, anyone can feel like a fish out of water. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, I live in a mixed neighborhood. I'm comfortable. There's Asian, Hispanic, Indian,
Because it's a mixed
white, black.
neighborhood. You're not the only
Right,
black person.
right.
But let me ask you this. Would you feel comfortable if you lived in a neighborhood full of nothing but black folks?
Um, well, it depends on what kind of black folks.
Ah, y'all ain't right. What you mean?
Like
I
I mean,
mean, I I don't want to live next to Soldier Slim, but
Okay. But what if you in a neighborhood full of white folks and it's a pedophile right next door to you, it's a serial killer right across the street?
but it don't matter. I feel like
I,
it doesn't matter. I feel like I think sometimes people get hung up on those things and start to get into their mindset and say that I don't fit in here because of my color. You know what I mean? I don't fit in.
yeah.
You shouldn't feel
It's in your
uncomfortable
head,
until something makes you feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
uncomfortable.
Like it, and then if you are uncomfortable about something, be a little bit more vocal about that, so it's not deemed as I'm uncomfortable because I'm in this space simply because I'm singled out or I'm you know what I mean? Like I I have I mean I've
It would just be natural to me to feel uncomfortable if I'm in a neighborhood full of
being
other
in
race
being in
and not
theater,
me.
working in
Yeah,
theater, a lot of the
yeah,
time you are of the minority.
Mm-hmm.
right. That a lot of the
A
times.
lot of the time, depending on the show, unless
Right,
it's Dreamgirls or something
right,
like
right.
that, like you know what I
A
mean, like
rendition of the
yeah. So
Temptations.
Or
like
Roots, the musical.
one of the productions that I was in of Dreamgirls, there are parts where it's for white people, you know what I mean, which are the sweethearts, which are they have like a little bit of a group where
Caters to them.
they steal the concept, I guess you could say, of a song,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
And sometimes people can turn that into I'm being left out because I'm in this predominantly black cast. You know what I mean?
Right,
There are moments just because of our culture where we are going to have inside jokes and just understand those things, right?
right, right,
But
right.
your uncomfortability because of those things are based on race. You know what I mean? So it's like there's nothing wrong with asking those questions or educating yourself as to why that's funny. You know what I mean? Or being a part of that. Sometimes you're just not gonna, get every joke. But because we are of a minority that lives in this country and we are always placed in the spaces where we should automatically just
Blend in.
not blend in, but have to deal. You know what I mean? Like we
Right,
have no
right.
other choice.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right. Exactly.
Sometimes we're in that space and then we're of that minority and we just have to deal and we hope that we are not held back by the color of our skin.
Right.
White people in those
Which is
spaces
always
are a lot of the time not necessarily being held back because of the color of their skin. Now there are some black spaces
Right.
that may make white folks feel like an
Right.
outsider. You know what I mean?
Right.
Intentionally sometimes. Right? Like sometimes like it be predominantly black club, right? And then two white
Yeah.
people come in, they're like, what the fuck? Like,
Right. But with Christina's
did
friend,
y'all
she
see
was just
Becky just walk
uncomfortable just
past
to be
like
there.
that? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
yes, she was uncomfortable just to be there. She was like, it is too many. Like she said, we're like the only white girls in here, and I kind of feel uncomfortable. Nobody was even paying them no mind though. Like nobody, was paying them no mind.
It's understandable in terms of a culture shock. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
and
don't
I
let that
understood
culture
that.
shock be fully defined by race. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because those things start to come off like where you feel as though you're threatened or you're going to get hurt simply because you're around a lot of people of color. You know what I mean? Like it's
And that's perception. That's visual perception that a lot of, I think sometimes the media is at fault sometimes with giving off a very negative perception all the time
Right.
about black people.
There's a series on HBO Max called the Secret Sex Lives of College Girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's based around these four young women who are new to college. And one white girl moves into a work study, right? So she starts working around at a cafe with a black guy and a Mexican woman, right? But in order for her to be able to try and fit in, she starts to ask them questions about themselves, but not fully. She's assuming things about them, right?
Oh, wow.
So she's assuming things about this black man and where he's come from simply because he's black, right? Now her intent is to be nice, right? But like the action, the questions, and how she's treating him tends to be racist.
Because they still have those biases. They still have those biases.
Because of those
thoughts.
That's what I'm saying.
Stereotypical biases, right?
But that's what I'm saying. But then again, the thing is, if you don't know and you want to know and you don't want to offend and you don't want to come off racist and you don't want to come off prejudiced, why not educate yourself? It's too many avenues. We are literally pushed education about white people from the time we've been going to school, we've been embodied in it. So is it really our fault that they choose to not know and understand because they don't have to really be in our environment, whereas we kind of have to more so be in their environment?
Yeah,
I guess it's more comfortable for them to just take what's been instilled in them and what they've been handed down from their ancestors and go with that, and they're just complacent and just satisfied with just, hey, black people are the other people. We're this, we're above them, they're below us, they're beneath us, and they're bad people. They want, this. But I feel the same way about them. So it's kind of like,
sometimes,
how do you meet in the middle?
Right.
Black culture in
where's
America
that middle ground?
Is not fully respected. It is
It
is taken and regurgitated and changed a lot of the time in terms of
I agree with that.
In terms of education. They are not educating about the black experience. They're not educating about a lot of black figures for the white community. And so then it becomes a thing where these this new generation doesn't necessarily deem it to be respectable because they weren't raised to be taught those things. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's frustrating just because we have certain situations recently where those college students went viral because the woman spray painted Because
if you guys didn't see
Black
that,
History Month
that was crazy.
Black History Month is a joke to her. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, into them, you know, just because we don't put the seriousness on it. We take cop cars and
put
Black
the
History
shiki colors.
Month, like, let's celebrate Black History Month on this cop car, which that is not how you know,
I mean,
pay respect. You know what I mean, to the black. I'm sorry, sorry, but that's not how you do it. It becomes a joke. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes
No, he's right.
You don't necessarily take seriously, and
no, you're right.
Then you don't take Black people as a whole seriously. You know what I mean?
And that's another thing. As Black people, we also gotta educate them sometimes if they're open to understanding and learning, because they really genuinely want to know, not because I don't want to be considered a racist. I like Black people. That's great. You can like Black people. That's great.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you might not have racist thoughts that might not be intentional. It's just what's been perplexed and bestowed upon you from what the media tells you. And then if you aren't around a lot of Black people that are of a positive, you know, not what the media is just shoving down people's throats, then that's all you are going to think about Black people.
Like like one of our favorite social media influencers says, is education is elevation, and it's supposed to be about learning about your fellow man more than seeking to be heard all the time. You know what I mean? And so, like, if I am asking questions in terms of educating myself, then it's going to come off, those questions are going to come off in a more earnest way. But if I am asking a question with the intent to give a rebuttal to your answer, then it's less about what you're explaining to be and more about what I have to say. And so then it becomes a thing where it's like, you're not asking this question to educate yourself. You're asking this question so you can be able to prove a point.
Right.
And you have
There's a big difference.
Assume that, that's where things start to get wrong and misconstrued, just because that Black person that you're asking this question will be able to suss that out in a second. We'll be able to, and be careful who you ask. You have to ask a friend. You can't just ask somebody.
Just ask a random.
Nigga will look at you sideways like, what the fuck? Like, just because I'm a Black person, like, you think that you can ask me that question? You know what I mean? Like, it has to, you have to be careful about those things, and who to ask, and, you know, like, trust your friends to be able to tell you the truth about a particular situation, because if they're truly your friend, then they don't want you out there being stupid. And like, initially, when you had those two white girlfriends, you should have gave them a heads up. It was like, okay, now.
Listen. No, they knew. I told them where we was going. I was like, listen, it's a lot of Black folk.
Right. You know what I mean?
Like, and my other friend, this the thing though. The two girls' names was Holly and Eleni.
Yeah.
They won't see this. But, well, they might on YouTube. But Eleni dated a Black guy before. He was mixed, but he was Black.
Okay.
He had like the darker skin, the features and everything. He looked more Black than anything, but he was mixed. And she'd been around Black people. So when she went to the club, she was ready.
Yeah, because she had experience.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
She had experience. I think it's
so
different.
It made her comfortable already.
But like the first couple of times when she snuck in there, she probably might have felt a little bit uncomfortable. You know what I mean? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you stop going just because you're uncomfortable. You have to break past the wall of uncomfortability in order to be able to embrace that a little bit more. You know what I mean? And
to be able to maneuver in this world. Like, you've got to be able to. Yeah, you've got to be able to move in a room full of vultures, basically. You got to be able to blend in every aspect. There's been lots of times I've been around a whole bunch of white folks.
Yeah, it ain't going to stop me from being any less Black.
Ain't going to stop me. And I know some of y'all over there looking at me real funny because you don't like what you see. But guess what? I'm here. And
in the picture.
And you're going to enjoy me, and you're going to get to know me, and you're going to love me at the end of the day. Right. Whether you go home and still don't like black people, that's fine. You can at least say you experienced a positive experience with one.
If you don't like me, it ain't going to make me any less black. No.
You know what I'm saying? What it is what it is.
It's who you are.
Most hated, most imitated.
Let's just embrace embracing each other's culture doesn't mean that you need to assume or regurgitate constantly what other people are doing. Like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where it's like even if you have an affinity for a piece of culture, it doesn't mean that you have to assume that or appropriate that or things of that nature. Just be supportive.
Yourself.
You know what I mean?
Just educate yourself, be supportive, and just respect it.
Yeah,
and just
respect that there's cultural differences and that people have other cultures. And
because if you start dancing to some music that we as a black culture love, we love that. You know what I mean? We wouldn't bring you around if we weren't intent on trying to extend that piece of our lives.
But I think we're always the ones to do that, though. I feel like we're always.
We are. I do think a lot of the times
we're so forgiving and just.
We always have been the ones to try to be the embracers because we've always been the non-embraced. So I get what you're saying too, and I get what you're saying too, Ken. I think that they're both valid points.
They're both valid.
With that documentary, I do advise you guys, if you are interested in these types of conversations, to check it out, because at the end of it, there was a reason why they wanted to expose the whole dynamic of deconstructing Karen, because it actually had something to do with unifying all of us.
Right.
And basically what they wanted to say in there was that if certain issues which a major issue in America is racism. I'm sorry. It is still heavily a major issue in this country. And what she was saying is, a lot of the times, to the people that don't experience it that much, don't acknowledge it. So then we never get to deal with the root of the issue, because if one side is never acknowledging it and the other sides have experienced it and acknowledges it and understands that it occurs in this country and wants there to be a change, there can't be a change if all of us, meaning white, black, brown, yellow, if all of us don't recognize, which is basically them being the minority of not acknowledging the fact that there's racism in this country. Like, there was a debate, I'm gonna sum this up and then we gotta go. There was a debate I had a conversation I had with a reel that I posted this week on our podcast platform. And the gentleman kind of got a little bit defensive and said, black people aren't happy here, then we should just go back to Africa. And I'm like, you hear that a lot. It's not that we're not happy here. It's the fact that you can't say that, because number one, black people pretty much built America. And secondly, he brought in the whole house, the slave traders and all that. I understand all that. That is truth to that. But the Europeans also came to Africa knowing what they knew, did deals, what is it called? Enticing the others with money or bribery or gifts or gold, whatever they were enticing them with the slave traders to do this business, to get these slaves and bring them over here. I'm not disregarding anybody that was a part of the slave trade whole thing. I'm not disregarding that at all, because black people did play a part in that. But at the same time, just the fact that he disregards the fact that there's still racism going on here today in 2023. Right. And we have integrated. Black people pretty much run the whole music entertainment industry, music industry genre, sports. So it's like it's like people will imitate and accept Black people, but then there's still racism going on in the country, which when that conversation comes up, it gets swept under the rug. Oh, I'm not a racist. I don't want to talk about this. This is uncomfortable. I'm going to cry, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no. If this is something that is really occurring in our country and we want to change it, then it has to be acknowledged by you as well. And as soon as you guys acknowledge that, meaning what I'm speaking to, as soon as you acknowledge that, not saying that every single white person is racist, because there are some white people that have chosen to educate themselves, understand why Black and brown people feel the way they feel, and want to make a change. So they go and talk to their friends, or they go and talk to their family members that might be thinking another way about Black people, or they teach their children. That's how you change it.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to sum up, because at the end of the documentary, that's what it gets to.
Before you sum up, and I have a couple of points to make. In terms of, this isn't the first time that we've had this conversation, or this conversation has been brought up. Like Jane Elliott, who is a big activist on a lot of racial issues that play.
Absolutely.
She has brought this conversation up multiple times for years and years and years. She's done the whole thing of raising your hand if you feel as though you're a racist, or raise your hand.
Never seen it.
Oh, I've sent it to you.
Oh, she speaks.
Jane Elliott?
Jane Elliott, an older white woman she's been on a couple of different shows, and she's
an older white lady.
Yeah, where she's hosted.
I know you're talking about.
They've asked the same question in terms of
you're right.
places with the Black person.
You're right.
And a lot of people, and then she's also done the study of with a predominantly white student body, young student body, of asking them or posing to them the experiment of blue eyes and brown eyes. And because of the color of your eyes, how you were treated and things of that nature. But in terms of Chef Briggs, in comments, he says, devil's advocate, so if we weren't forced to learn white history, would you willingly want to learn them? To that I say, that's a multi-layered question, just because, first of all, we weren't given the opportunity to make that choice.
Right, exactly.
Number one.
That's one. For two, we should be educating ourselves on all different types of cultures in terms of our fellow neighbor, right?
Right.
So, like, we almost don't necessarily have to in terms of the white history, because white history are pulling from a lot of various cultures.
Exactly.
But when you think about predominant white culture, like certain things in terms of languages, you're thinking about learning Russian, you know what I mean? Learning German, although there are people out there who are educating themselves on that and take part in that culture, take part in loving those things. They're not necessarily trying to become Russian,
right?
But we eat French fries. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, not to dumb culture down to that, but I'm saying, like, it's already integrated within society as is. You know what I mean? So it's like we don't necessarily have to.
Right, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
We weren't given that choice. It's well woven throughout America to a point where you don't have to.
Right, and then on top of that, a lot of white people don't even know that most of everything that was built by America was by Black people, by slaves, even the damn White House. So, I mean, I feel like it's necessary because really we are American history. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, it's like it's what you're interested in learning. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if it is affecting how you are treating a certain type of people, then yes, you need to educate yourself.
Yes, you need to educate yourself.
I mean? Like, but
and if
I'm not treating white people any differently than
Right.
the next black person. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think
of course.
we tend to have a lot more in common just because we share the same experience. But it doesn't mean that I value them more than the other. I am proud to be black, and I am proud of my other black, brethren. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because of what we were able to accomplish in the midst of being oppressed. You know what I mean?
And I do think it's interesting why no one raised their hand though when they asked,
well,
would you trade places?
There's a problem. Right. You understand?
Right.
You assume that there's a problem just because.
And I think that's what she was trying to expose.
Wasn't a problem. If there was no oppression,
they would have been like,
have no problem with switching, places. But you understand,
right? Because I guarantee, if you asked a room full of black people that,
you understand.
I wonder if
your privilege is putting you up ahead of certain things, so you're in a good position because you don't have to focus on those things. Like those things aren't necessarily a problem for you, so you can turn a blind eye to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see color because...
Right. And a lot of them did say that. A lot of them said, I don't see color.
I don't want to focus on color, but you as a non-person of color are able to turn a blind eye to it and it not affect you.
And not affect you. That's why.
But
that's why, because it doesn't affect you.
No one else in this country can do that. So
right.
Understanding that and being able to acknowledge that is not being ignorant to it all, and then we can be able to focus on the solutions. That's what they were talking about specifically, is that once you acknowledge that there is a problem, then you can be able to work on trying to fix it. But if you think that there's no problem, then you're just going through life and understanding that that person over there is living much worse than you, and you're fine with it.
And you're just complacent.
You're okay. Right. You're just complacent with it. Right. No, you guys you're absolutely, and that was the point of it. They were trying to get them to see that there's a problem there. That's why she opened up the conversation at the table, like, so who in here say they racist? Who in here were racist?
But those people are so uncomfortable with the word racist. They don't want to.
That was what she was trying to bring out, because she said, "Why does that make you uncomfortable? And why does it have it?" And then she was also saying, "Why does it have a negative connotation?"
Yeah. Understanding that, like, everyone is so quick to get on the defense because they don't want to be like how Dr. Phil said. Like, this woman said that it's a horrible thing, and I don't want to be looked at as horrible. That is more of a selfish reason as opposed to you actually committing a racist act.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, racism in itself is a problem, but you don't want
worry about how they're going to look.
As, like, because it would affect your life. You know what I mean? Like,
the way you look.
Not the way that you look, but it would just, like, you would lose your job. You would lose all these things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Like,
well, it's still imagery. It's still imagery.
Right. But it's like, that's the reason why you don't want to be deemed racist, is because it would affect yourself, as opposed to racism in general in this country is affecting everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they were saying in that too. Yeah, that's what they were saying.
It's frustrating.
It was it was very, very interesting just to get into the thoughts and just the whole ideologies of it. So if you guys are interested in that conversation, you can definitely look it up. It's called
it's called Deconstructing Karen?
It's called Deconstructing Karen. Yes, that's the name of the documentary as well. So if y'all find it,
there are plenty of classes and what do you call them? Seminars that were run by Jane Elliott.
She has a lot of literature. Yeah,
you can check out Jane Elliott too if you guys. But if somebody does, if somebody does find the link to this, please send it to me. I could not find the link, and I wanted to watch the full documentary because there was a lot of different conversations that I got into with this. But you guys, we did go over our time. It was a good show tonight. Great conversation. We went, we 2.5 hours, baby. Ken, you remember when we first started? It used to cut us off, and we had to do like separate segments.
Oh my gosh.
We done glowed up, y'all.
Giving us time now.
And I just want to thank everybody for this week for running our numbers up. We actually have 326 followers now on Instagram. Thank you so much. I remember when we first started this platform, which was only a year ago, you guys. It'll be a full year as of, I think, next month when we started. And I'm so excited and happy. Even our numbers kind of are slowly going up on YouTube. So I encourage you guys to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think I'm going to start doing some more video reactions. And hopefully that might be able to get everybody's, more attention and drawn in, like I've been kind of doing on Instagram with the remixing the reels and having really good conversations with you guys. By the way, to everybody who thought I was a man, surprise, I'm not a man. I'm a woman. Some of you guys are conversating with me, not Ken, and if it is Ken, it'll say Skipper Finn Official, who is my additional host on this show. So once again, you guys, thank you so much. It's been a great show. We come back live on February 23rd for some good topics, some good conversations, some good vibes. We love you guys. Follow us on our personal platforms at Shantae Moy. And Ken, you want to say something?
Oh, yeah. And thanks so much to our guest co-host, Mr. Malvo.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming in and
anytime.
giving us
Thank you, Mr. Malvo.
You to be able to bounce off of, and
yes,
you always have incredibly great points.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Malvo, because he just started following us too, maybe a month or so ago.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so that's love, yo. It's like we connecting through this.
Oh yeah.
You guys always have the best topics, so it's like,
Oh, yay! Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. That's what I got this platform for everybody for. I'm glad that you guys love to express yourselves. People have been telling me in some of the comments that they like the fact that they get the freedom to express themselves without being judged or attacked. So that's awesome, you guys. But like I said, you can follow us on our individual tags at Skipper Finn Official, my boy Kenyatta, and Mr. Malvo, if you guys want to follow his platform as well. These lives do go up on YouTube. So if you guys ever want to call in on camera, chime in on the chat, please feel free to do so. We love you guys. Thank you for all the support. That concludes the show tonight. Until the 23rd on Thursday, y'all know the vibes, and we out.
Peace.